Good morning. We're live from Laguna Hills, California. I'm Andrew Sparrow of XDI and welcome you to the first of the 2020 Product Lifecycle Management Debates with Vice President of Sales, that is, David Mann, and President of his own company, Andreas Lindenthal. This debate is sponsored and designed by XD Innovation and has been put together in total chaos, and so in keeping with really the presidential debate in truth. As a result, it will be one long argument broken into 4 10-minute, at least I hope there will be, segments full of interruptions with 2-minute rants from each candidate for the first question, and then open slander for the rest. And then we'll reach out to our town hall audience, that's you, for further thoughts, abuse, and unanswerable questions. Amazingly, both sides have agreed to these rules. I can't believe it. For the record, I decided the topics and the questions in each topic. I can assure you, none of the questions have been shared that much with the candidates. This debate is being, just so you know, conducted under strict health and safety protocols that's been designed by my wife, who is in healthcare. Not that you were remotely interested in that. Both candidates have agreed that they will not be shaking hands. So please, everyone, don't forget to ask those questions at the end of every segment. Right now, we welcome to the stand 25-year PLM techie nerd nominee David Mann and the equally experienced, off into the clouds, maybe even another planet nominee, Andreas Lindenthal. Welcome. Don't clap for yourself. Anyway, welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. A lot of people have been waiting for this day, so let's get things underway. Our first subject is related to the Bill of Materials. Vice President Mann, you are very vocal in your belief of the manufacturing bomb, going as far as to suggest there is little need for the E-bomb. Andreas, meanwhile, President Lindenthal, you believe there to be many M-bombs, many E-bombs, and each one entirely different and entirely valuable. My first question to you, gentlemen, is E-bomb, M-bomb, are they the same? I'm going to start with you, Vice President Mann. You have 2 minutes. The clock is running.
So thank you, Andrew, and thanks everybody for joining today. In terms of E-bomb and M-bomb, people ask, are they different? And of course they're different. You have to have a little bit of both. But when you come down to it, all companies are trying to build something, and the biggest difference between E-bomb and an M-bomb is you can't build against an E-bomb, which makes the M-bomb a lot more important. Now, when we say you can't build against it, the M-bomb is going to contain all of the information that you need to actually go out and produce on a manufacturing line. And the difference between these two types of bills of materials is really the intent. Who are the people working on it? What is the purpose of it? An E-bomb is all about product engineers. They're focusing on the actual thing that people are going to be buying, the things that they're going coming off the assembly line, going into the packaging, going into stores, or going into this to the consumer's house. So it's a thing that people are buying. M-bombs are different. They're made by another type of engineer, perfectly, same education, but focusing much more on how you build it. They're going to be reorganizing the E-bomb, and they're going to be placing it in ways that make it easier to assemble. And they're going to be adding in things like tooling and consumables and process plans and things like that actually allow you to get it off a manufacturing plant. You can't actually build an E-bomb. Most of the times they're organized in ways that simply don't make sense. They make sense to the product engineers, but to a guy on the manufacturing shop floor, he just doesn't understand how you can pull all these pieces together. Now, there are companies that use contract manufacturers, and they'll say, hey, I don't have an M-bomb. I'm just designing stuff and I hand it over. Well, I can guarantee you that those contract manufacturers, they have an M-bomb. They're building it for you. You're just paying for it. And that's a perfectly good service for a lot of companies. There are also companies that are doing engineer to order. Now, these companies, a lot of them are actually focusing exclusively on the M-bomb because all they're about is building that one-off thing. So they're really looking at how do I build it, including all of the
Vice President Mann, you're running over time. You've had your 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. But the important part is that with the M-bomb,
Vice President Mann,
we're going to have a few rare exceptions in there. The rare exceptions are really about companies with E-bombs and no M-bomb. That's where I saw Grind to Fit for the first time. A company, they basically threw an E-bomb over the wall and said, our guys on the shop floor figure it out. I don't like that idea. When you think that could kill people, grinding to fit, not a great idea.
Vice President Mann, have you now finished? That is well over your 2 minutes allocated. We're seriously going to have to penalize you next time around. My apologies, President Lindenthal. I'm going to come to you. You have 2 minutes to express your differences of that which Vice President Mann has extolled.
Well, thank you, Andrew, and thanks everyone for having me here and allowing me to share my thoughts. Finally, so E-bomb and M-bomb, are they the same? And I have to first, clearly say that I have to strongly and violently agree with Mr. Mann. I know that's not very typical for a presidential debate, but I'm trying to work across the aisle here. So hear me out, all right?
Very well.
So are they the same? No, absolutely not. So most companies clearly distinguish an M-bomb and an E-bomb in one way or another. The primary difference is that an E-bomb shows the sequence or the levels of how a product is configured. So from a design intent. Whereas the M-bomb shows the sequence or order how a product is built, meaning from a manufacturing intent, and David already alluded to that. Hence, the structure of an E-bomb and an M-bomb are generally very, very different. The parts of an E-bomb are all on the M-bomb, they have to be. But in addition, an M-bomb also usually contains tools and fixtures and other materials and work instructions, manufacturing procedures, etc., that are necessary for the manufacturing and assembly of a product that are not included on an E-bomb. The engineers who design the product, they're not even aware of all those tools and fixtures and all that. So they wouldn't know what parts have to be on there. And in addition, there's typically only one E-bomb of a product that clearly shows how, what parts are on it. But depending on how many manufacturing sites or ERP systems a company has, there may actually be multiple different M-bombs for a product. So a manufacturing site A may have a M-bomb and a manufacturing site B which assembles the product differently using different tools and fixtures and all that. The M-bomb for manufacturing site B may look completely different.
President Lindenthal, thank you. You've had your 2 minutes.
Oh, come